Hey, what's up guys? Travis here with BikeBandit.com. We are back in the garage once again and we're working on our KTM 250SX project. As I started working on this one, I wanted to kind of address a couple things that I do to all my motorcycles, which is grease the swing arm linkage and the bearings on the headset here. So I figured while we had the bike apart, we'd show you how to do this. And this is going to be pretty much the same thing you want to do if you have any KTM bike. I mean, you want to do it to pretty much all your bikes when they're new. Most of the manufacturers don't put a lot of grease in there, so it's a good idea to pull this off, check it out. But while we had this bike apart, I figured I'd show you how to do it on a KTM. This one here is off an SX, so if you have an SX or an XC, that's going to be a linkage bike. This portion will be the same. The linkage bikes have the spot for a linkage down here, obviously. If you have a EXC or an XCW, which is the PDS suspension, no link on it, suspension mounts at the top, you're still going to want to do these same spots right here. So you'll want to go ahead and pull your swing arm off and pull your triple clamps off, and we'll basically show you how to dive into this stuff and take care of it so you don't cause any problems while you're doing it. So first thing we're going to do is dive into our main pivot for our swing arm right here, and I'll do a little bit of a close-up on the other side when I dive into there. So basically, I like to put on some latex gloves. Some of this stuff gets a little nasty, sticky. It's easier just to throw some gloves away. So I start by taking a finger, sticking it in here, and pulling this out. So this is going to be the race here that your linkage bolt slides on, and then the bearings are going to be down on the inside. I really don't recommend working on a blanket or something like this that I'm working on. I just have this tiny little table in my garage. It looked kind of bad, so I wanted to try and look professional. I don't know, put something on there. So pull one side out, stick your finger in the other side here, pop that out as well, so you can see how these kind of fit together here. Then the bearings are on the inside here. I'll do a little close-up, like I said, to show you what's going on. Inside of here, you have two bearings, one on the outer side, one on the inside. Let me stand this up here. So on both the left side and the right side here, you have two bearings here, one here, and then you have another two on this side. And these bearings have like a little needle bearing, roller bearing inside of it, so you're going to want to leave those inside at this point, and you're going to want to put a little bit of grease on your finger, reach in there, apply the grease, and you want to be careful in doing so. Reason with that is those little needle bearings are only held in place by the grease there, so if you take your finger and just give it a big swipe, you're going to either pick them out or dislodge them or get them all funky or kind of weird like that. So for grease, I like to use this stuff right here. It's from Maxima. It's waterproof grease. It's what I've used on my bikes for years. Had very, very good luck with it. So basically what we're doing, we're just going to add a little bit more because the factory doesn't put very much in there. Or if you've gone through and changed these out on your bike, you want to make sure to re-grease them. Same with the stuff for the headset right here. So basically just reach into your grease here, get a little bit on your finger. Don't want to get too much. And we're just going to kind of put our finger in here. And like I said, very, very gently, we're just going to add a little bit more grease to these bearings. You don't want to get too rough in here because you'll dislodge them and knock them out. Then we're going to do the same thing, a little bit more grease from the back side here. Just like that. Take these races here, you can put a little bit on the center portion. And then we're going to reinstall that guy. Everything should go through nice and smooth. Put the cap back on the other side, and this part can go on either way. And just like that, now we've ensured that there's a good amount of grease in there and that it's going to stay well lubricated, and if you get water in there for whatever reason from washing your bike, the grease is going to be able to displace those liquids here so it doesn't create a problem. So one side's done, we're going to go ahead and do the other side now. So this is your triple clamp where your forks bolt onto your bike. This is the stem, obviously, goes through the front of your frame, and then you have a lower bearing, and then you have an upper bearing and an upper triple clamp as well. So this is another part that the factory kind of lacks on greasing on the KTMs, Huskies, and probably the GasGas is what am I going to say. So basically it's a good idea when you get a new bike, or if you're just going through doing a little bit of regular service, to go ahead, add some grease to the bearing here and the one at the top. The top one is still sitting in the frame of my bike. I'll pull it down and grease it here in a moment. I just wanted to show you how to grease this up here. So basically we've taken the forks out, we've unbolted the triple clamps, taken off the top bolt, the pinch bolt, and this drops right out. So I'm going to show you how to put some grease on here. Once again, we're going to use this Maxima waterproof grease to get us going. Let me zoom in a little bit. So pretty straightforward on this stuff. Get a nice glob of grease, and we are going to just start working it into these bearings right here. The stock grease is pretty thin, runny, and they don't put very much on here. So just kind of work it around. You want to rotate this bearing so that it pulls the grease into the inside. Ideally on a bearing like this, you want to pack it from the inside out, and that forces all the grease into each one of the bearings and packs it nice and tight. That's what you do if it was like a wheel bearing from a car or something. But these honestly don't have a lot of pressure. They don't build a lot of heat because you're not working on it a ton. So just kind of work your way around here, top and bottom, and just pack as much grease in here as you can. Just keep pushing it in until it doesn't want to take anymore. Can't really have too much here unless it's going to be seeping out. So and as you keep twisting this bearing and turning it, it'll pull more and more grease in there, and you'll get to a point where it doesn't want to take anymore, obviously. So do that, and that's looking pretty good to me now. So once you go ahead and get the lower bearing and the upper bearing all greased up, you're ready to go ahead, put it back in the bike. Like I said, this is something I like to do on a brand new bike, as well as one that I'm going through doing a little bit of service on. It just keeps all the moisture from collecting in there, keeps everything running nice and smooth. So if you guys have any questions, post up in the comments. I'd be happy to answer for you. I'm Travis with BikeBandit.com. Thanks for watching, and get out and ride.